Okay. All right. We've got mail. You want to open some mail?
Yes. I always want to open mail.
Okay. This one's going to be a little bit creepy.
Oh.
So.
Did someone like send you a severed arm?
No. I watch a lot of pickers on TV. Pickers.
Okay.
Are
I used to as well. But
yeah, they go to garage sales, antique shows, whatever they want, and they buy things for cheap and sell it for a lot more.
Okay.
So there's this one guy that I really like, called Commonwealth Picker.
Okay.
He also has a channel. So that's one YouTube channel. And the other YouTube channel is Commonwealth Flipper. And he flips stuff. I've given him some comic advice in the past, or whatever the case might be.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
But the bigger thing with him is that he tries to teach his kids like the value of $1 through doing this. He's a history teacher. He's a history teacher as well, which means he's really easy to watch. Like, he talks very well, and so
right. Yeah, you've talked about him before.
Yeah, probably.
I remember.
So they were doing a giveaway, not a giveaway, but an auction for charity.
Okay.
And I got a used hat from him. And it's signed it by him.
We get things moving.
Yeah. So there's sweat stains. His initials on the inside are like sweated away.
Ah.
Real weird stuff. But I'm gonna put it up in the back there somewhere.
Nice. I see that you fixed Robin.
I did fix Robin.
Yeah.
He's looking good. I was gonna make it very TV accurate with him walking up, but Batman always like big spooned Robin.
With how TV accurate they yeah.
It'd just be a little creepy. I mean, to be honest,
you guys are gonna have to stand a whole lot closer. The cameras aren't that wide of an angle.
Right. And then, that started happening when they started having celebrities stick their head out the windows.
Oh.
But to do all that, to get the window in the shot, the celebrity in the shot, the background city, and Batman and Robin, and then Batman has to be like crotch to butt with
Robin.
Yeah.
In their natural state.
So I bought, as you can see here, this is a new pile.
Yay!
I bought more comics on Instagram. So we're just going to open one box.
Okay.
From each person, and basically you're going to complain about how they packed.
Okay.
And then
that seems fair.
And I'll send them this link, and then they can hate me. All right. So these are what they call Gemini 2 boxes. Because that's what they are. That's what the company calls them. It's the best way to send comics. If you had to ask a person how they would prefer to send comics, it would be in a Gemini 2. Because you're not going to damage the comics at all.
Now I want to Google that.
What's this kid doing using his scooter on my driveway? I've become a cranky old man. That's what just happened there. Get off my lawn, kid. But because I ordered so much in volume, they had to ship in these boxes to make it cost effective.
Oh.
I bought 100 comics the other day. Sorry, I bought $100 worth of comics the other day, and it cost me $100 to ship them.
Oh my gosh.
The person that shipped them must have shipped them in like gold. Gold, baby.
Oh, okay. I found those Gemini boxes. Yeah, these are nice. Nice shipping boxes.
Yeah, they especially made Oh, I didn't... you know.
So
Okay,
they're a Gemini comic supply.
yes,
The...
yes.
Okay.
And pretty much, if you've sent comics before, you know about these things.
Cool.
Okay. So I have found out that I do not have a good memory.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
I've bought, I don't know, like 3,000 comics over the last week.
Okay.
And I still open them and am surprised about what's put inside.
That's the best. It's like getting a gift. But I mean, you paid for him.
I sure did.
Fall of Man. Oh, he'll be okay because he's the $6 million man. If he falls, they can rebuild him. Oh, okay. Fall of Man must be the series for the $6 million man. Episode 2, still falling. Let me move my.
Now he's on a train.
Around. Okay, still falling. Number 3.
Oh, this one's creepy.
Oh, yeah, that one's different.
He had an itch and he scratched it.
It's not red.
And here's the last one.
Okay, yeah, now he's ready. He's ready to fight.
He's got some people in his pants.
I feel like it's odd to have thrown like the green cover in the middle there, because it was like the first 3 were red, the 4th one was green, and then the 5th one was back to red.
You're right. I wonder if there's some sort of meaning behind that.
Yeah, like I couldn't come up with a joke. Chakra, the invincible. Feel the power. And he's got like a chakra there on his, I don't know, on his chest. I don't know what's going on.
What is a chakra?
Actually, no. Chakra is not what I was thinking. Let's see.
Okay, so
find out about chakra.
So this is an Indian comic.
Yeah. That makes sense.
When Stan Lee got older, so from about 80 years ago, no, I'm kidding. From about 20 years ago, he started sticking his name on everything.
Sure.
He started signing his name on everything, and then he also started sticking his name on everything. So this is Stan Lee Chakra, the Invincible, from the legendary co-creator of Spider-Man, Hulk, X-Men, Iron Man, and the Avengers. So it's by Q Graphic India.
It was also apparently,
or G Graphic.
Yeah. It also was apparently a TV show. Stan Lee's Chakra, the Invincible, and it was on Cartoon Network India.
Okay, I was gonna guess that it was animated. Yeah.
Yeah. And the animation is exactly what you're seeing on the comic.
I was gonna say it does look very modern day animated series.
Interesting. Okay, so his whole deal is that his mentor gives him a suit that lets him activate his chakras, his different chakras in the body, giving him different powers.
What are chakras?
Chakras, according to Hinduism, are the various focal points used in a variety of ancient meditation practices. And there's a lot of different chakras. Let's see, I think there's seven different chakras. And so his suit allows him to activate them to their full potential.
So it's Indian Ben 10.
Yeah, very much so. It reminds me of his suit and stuff reminds me of Ben 10 a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was from the one person. I've got another several boxes from them. We're not going to go through those boxes. Once it gets to a certain point, it gets pointless. I like that. Once it gets to a certain point, it gets pointless.
Yeah.
No sense. Okay.
We rub down the point until it's gone.
Until it's pointless. Okay, we got another. This is a fake Gemini box. No, this is a Gemini box. You know, okay, so Gemini has a really good product. Not everyone uses it right, but most of the time they use it right. But look at the font.
Gemini Comic Supply. And I guess, yeah, it's a good choice.
All right. What do we have here?
We're going to find out one way or another.
Yep.
Turok. Oh, is like Turok the dinosaur hunter?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, how do you know Turok the dinosaur hunter?
From the video game series.
Oh, yeah. Video game series came after the comic.
I'm sure it did.
The comic's been around since a long time ago. Yeah, early 80s, maybe earlier.
So what's funny, when you look up Turok Dinosaur Hunter on Wikipedia, it actually says, so Turok Dinosaur Hunter, and it starts with, is a first-person shooter video game developed by Iguana Entertainment, published by Acclaim, blah, 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 blah. But it says, not to be confused with Turok Dinosaur Hunter, the comic book.
Whoa. They're unrelated?
Apparently? It is hard to tell. I'd have to read a whole lot of this to really tell very quickly.
Are you playing Wonder Woman right now?
Is that what the noise is?
Yeah.
Hold on. I've got a lot of windows open.
I think the browser minimized it to the bottom.
There it is. Okay, there we go. It's funny. I was hearing noises every now and then because the volume was down really low. And I was like, what is that?
I looked at my server and I was like, who is streaming something?
It was me. It should be stopped now. Figure out this. So published. Now there was Turok, Son of Stone, that was published in 1956.
Yes, that's the same Turok.
Okay, the character inspired the popular video game series, starting with Turok Dinosaur Hunter. So it is loosely based on the comics.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Turok's really funny because Turok went hard when in 1992. So 1992? Yeah, I think it was 1992. They printed millions of their #1, and it was embossed in gold, and the whole comic industry kind of crushed right then. So whenever you get a free box of comics, guess what's in there?
Turok #1.
Turok #1.
Oh yeah, and you can find it very readily. It looks like for every price I'm seeing beneath the sun, everything there's $1.50. There's $1.50 to $150.
Yeah, some people will think they're as fantastically worthwhile because it's a #1 and it's embossed.
Yeah, #1, 9.8. $150.
9.8.
No, I don't want to be notified when the price drops. It's fine.
6 copies that was signed by Stan Lee, and it makes no sense that Stan Lee signed them because they've never been owned by Marvel.
Never had anything to do with Stan Lee.
No, nothing to do with Stan Lee.
They're like, it's a comic, Stan Lee. You invented comics, right? X-Men Gold. Okay.
So I showed off #1 of this before. It was a recalled comic, was not the #1.
Oh yes, you talked about it a little bit.
So it's #2. Fantastic Four, #10. I think this is volume 8 or something.
So what's the deal with X-Men Gold? Is it like X-Men Gold Team?
Yes. There is Gold Team, Red Team, Blue Team, Black Team. And no, Black Team is not what you think it is.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that Storm is in gold team. So,
right.
Uh,
Then there's also, yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot.
okay. Okay, Shadowcat, Storm, Prestige. Oh, Rachel Summers. Okay.
Yeah.
Kurt Warner or Kurt Wagner. Kurt Warner is a quarterback, or used to be.
He's
Old
the
Man
worst
Logan.
member of the team.
Oh, Armor, the one I talked about being
Yep.
in the anime show.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Got a little shield abilities.
Oh, a critical reception. According to such and such, the first issue received an average score of 7.7 out of 10.
Yes. Gold, actually, most of the secondary teams did not do well.
Oh, and now I'm looking at the controversy. I can see why it was recalled. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that would I could see where this would upset some people. Some quotes from the Quran and
right. On a t-shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, this would upset some people. Now, okay, now I have a question for you about when they recall comics like that.
Yeah.
Does it just get recalled and then that comic becomes more rare, or is it recalled, reprinted, and redistributed?
It's both.
Okay.
So it depends when it gets recalled. Sometimes it's been out in the market for a while, and they recall purely as a sign of good faith.
Sure.
And then they'll say, "Oh, you'll get a credit for this at your local comic book store," and no one returns them because they're all hoping it becomes a famous comic, and it never does. If the, like X-Men Gold, they recalled number 1. I think it was 2 weeks after it launched.
Okay.
So what they do is they take anything that's on the shelf, like at LCS's local comic stores, and they burn it.
Oh,
and they stop all production of it, everything, and then they fix it, and they send another one out. They also send a note to all people that they can find that bought it and offer some sort of incentive to bring it back in.
Oh, wow.
Most people do not bring it back in. There have been other cases where they recalled it when it had just got to the comic store, and those are the hardest to find because
almost no one gets them.
Yeah.
Oh,
but like you look at Marvel's recall of X-Men Gold number 1, and it had anti-government Quran message on the chest piece. They didn't know who did it, and then they finally figured out who did it. It was one of the artists,
and he got fired.
Yep. And I think they rehired him like 3 weeks later.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's other cases like Warren Ellis and his he's been in the industry forever, but he was caught fooling around with a girl that was only fooling around with him so she could get inside a comic. And now it's the Me Too movement and blah 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 blah.
Oh, okay. The first time I was like, man, that's some comic fan to like, I'm gonna fool around with him to get into the comic. But if it was for the Me Too stuff, I could see.
So those are the kind of things that Marvel goes through. DC will recall a comic because the DC logo wasn't in an approved color.
Oh, okay.
Like it's in a brown instead of a blue, and that brown was reserved for the next comic. So
they're like, poop browns for the next one. What the heck is wrong with you?
So it's kind of all over the place. Reclaimed comics are very rarely worth more money. The most famous reclaimed comic that we have in modern day history is the Batman. So it was the Black Label, which was just launched, and it was the Batman comic that showed up under the Black Label, and in it you see Batman's junk.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at the look at his junk right now. No, I'm looking at a post about that controversy.
Yeah, so they released the digital platform copy without that. So they were kind of okay there, but it had been like 4 weeks before they made a decision on what to do with the comic. Because they were like, that's the very purpose of the black label. And then you can tell someone in marketing kind of got hold of it and was like, let's milk this for what it's worth. Because it was showing up in news articles everywhere.
So it's Batman Damned #1.
Yes,
Is
that's
the
one.
okay? Interesting.
So I have 4 copies.
Oh, are they wangless or are they?
They all have the wang, and they're all the alternative covers, except for the fourth. The fourth is the reprint.
Okay.
So, they literally have not moved the needle on value.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I have an app that tells me the values of my comics live.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And it's not even in the top 1,000. So yeah, recalled comics, really interesting. I decided I was going to collect them because I found it interesting, not because they're worth anything.
This it's so funny. Like, this guy's like, all weekend I waited for Batman Damned, and I expected to see a significant representation of Batman's penis, and I did not.
Yeah,
and he's like, I'm not disparaging Batman's penis as it appears in Batman Damned #1. As an aspect of character design, I have no problems here in regards to length, girth, or shape.
It was not an explosion of nudity.
No.
Like when a woman is naked in a comic, it's sunlight outside, the lights are on inside, they put extra lights on her, right? So that you could see every nook and cranny. With Batman, it was like, I think he was walking into a cave and you saw the silhouette of him.
Yes.
Then he walks by.
I can see the edited picture here.
Yeah, and then he walked by the shot, like as if it was a video shot. And I think if you're gonna do it. Like, don't hold back. But
sure. Okay.
Yeah, so I collect. I think I have 30 or 40 reclaimed comics. Like all recalled comics. The funniest one, I don't remember. Yeah, I don't even remember what the comic is. It's a Robin comic. I think Frank Miller wanted to write like an edgy comic, so DC said, "Write it. We'll print it, but what we'll do is we'll strike out all the bad words." Like it's been, removed.
Like it's been redacted.
Yeah.
That's
so they
funny.
printed the first, 50,000 or whatever. And the redaction, the black bar, was not dark enough to hide the words.
That's funny.
That's my favorite so far. I have like 1 billion of this comic. It's like
Secret revealed.
Yes.
Secret revealed.
It's Onslaught was a big deal back then.
Oh, Supreme Power Nighthawk. Jeez, that is a cover.
This is a really cool cover.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah, I like just the black and white and red.
Yeah.
Avengers, No Road Home. And Hulk is like, ugh. He's having a good time. Yeah, whoever that is in the shard of glass.
Yeah.
Hulk probably broke that glass.
Yeah. You want to do a Funko Pop or more comics?
Ooh. Leaning towards comics, but I'm curious what you got as far as Funko Pop.
Well, we'll get there.
Okay.
We have time.
Got plenty of time.
So no one watches this.
Yeah, they'll get there. They just haven't figured it out.
All right. So what was interesting was one person in the Gemini pack was super careful taping everything together. The other person kind of just threw them in there, and both were equally undamaged.
Okay.
We got some foam core. This is an interesting way of packing.
I'm like reading about X Factor because I don't know what the deal is with X Factor.
Yeah. They've been around for a long time.
Yeah, it has. Looks like 1986 was when it debuted. X Factor launched in 1986, featuring a team composed of the original 5 X-Men that debuted in X-Men #1 from 1963. Okay, Angel, Beast, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Iceman.
So this guy asked me for my headphones going crazy. I don't know what's going on.
Mine do that every now and then too. Like I'll just be sitting here and all of a sudden it's like, mic on, mic off, signal it's like found. I'm like, okay, good job.
Yeah, I think after updating the drivers recently, it started acting out.
I'm not good about updating drivers.
Of
which we've learned.
So this guy asked me for feedback on his packing.
Okay, that's seems like an odd request, but okay.
It's actually less odd than you would think.
Oh.
The reason being is that these boxes barely hold the comics at the right angle. And if you look at where the damage on these boxes happen, it's on these corners.
It's on the corners, yeah.
So if you're not careful with your packing, you can end up with damaged corners. Now, I've ended up with comics with a lot of damaged corners coming out of these boxes when they're just bubble wrapped and saran wrapped then. Because I think the bubble wrap itself bends the corners in.
Sure.
But his are great. I have no problem with this. So.
Oh, neat.
That's
cool. Yeah, that is really cool.
We won't go through all the comics that were in that box, but we'll go through the first stack. So this is
Halloween Comic Fest. Okay.
Yeah, so there's 2 big comic free days.
Oh, sure.
One is Comic Book Day, and one is Comic Fest.
Okay.
So if you go down to your local comic book store, they're actually lasting a week now. Like free comic book days, like a week.
Yeah, this year they were doing Comic Book Day was more like Comic Book Week.
I think with
the
fewer
gray gargoyle.
Okay. Yeah, he's pretty.
Also, probably the desire to not have lots of people together on one day in one place.
Yeah, and a lot of comic shops have shut down.
Sure.
And so, like, I got all my free comics. Well, I paid for them, but I got all my free comics from Mile High, and they sent me like a box full of free comics of all the free comics. So, that was a good way not to miss any. I have lost complete. Yeah, go.
Transformers has been around forever.
Too long.
So let me see. Wikipedia. No, I don't care about the film series. I want just Transformers as a thing.
I mean, Shia LaBeouf almost killed the franchise.
Transformers was a toy series first. Yeah. It was a series of figures and transforming toys.
Yes. 80s, early 80s?
It's got to be early 80s. At some point, I had a very early Optimus Prime. And it was just, I had one because I was a kid in the 80s and my parents bought me one. Was it
with the trailer?
I did not have the trailer. I just had the truck.
Your parents cheats out on you.
Yeah, they did. I also had no idea what it was. And I never, surprisingly, given my enjoyment of giant robots, I never got into Transformers. It never ended up being my thing. Wow, I'm finding a hard time just finding.
So in South Africa in the
Transformers
80s, we ended
and
up
stuff.
with all the fake Transformers.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about microbots or whatever the heck, or nanobots or whatever the heck those
Sure,
are.
sure.
I'm talking about like just straight up Chinese ripoffs of Transformers.
Oh my gosh.
And they were really hot. But my first real introduction to Transformers was coming to the United States and watching Beast Wars.
So it's funny that like that was your first real introduction to Transformers, because that was what I watched. Like that's what I understood. Transformers. I understood that, yes. I'd always understood, yes, there was a transforming car line in Transformers.
Yeah.
But the first thing I ever really watched on TV was Beast Wars. My favorite one was Depth Charge. He was the manta ray that could change into like a weird submarine.
He was like in the third wave. He came like seasons later.
Yeah. And what's funny, like I remember loving that show and just being like, man, this is like the coolest thing. It's like that and like Reboot. It was like, oh, these are so good. You watch any of those now?
Yeah. I tried to watch Beast Wars the other day, and it was awful. Awful.
The animation is so bad, but
yeah. And the storytelling's horrible too.
Yes. When did
you ever watch the end of Beast Wars?
I never watched the end of Beast Wars.
No, what's going on here? Murray, did you steal that car?
Murray's out fighting the Beast Wars right now.
I'm driving in a Beast War. Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't.
Why not?
It's good enough.
Good enough. To the top of your head.
Yeah, did you grow a bunch of hair?
It's fuzzy.
Oh.
It's called hair.
Nice.
What are you doing?
My ears are gone.
Oh. Well, I mean, I barely use my ears anyway.
I'm in my vehicle about to drive back home, that is. I was out flying my drone.
Oh, nice.
Doing useless things with useless people.
Okay, Murray. So what, if any, connection do you have to Transformers? Like, do you remember it from the 80s? Or like, was it something? Because Marcel and I knew what the Transformers was in the 80s, but my only real like, oh, Transformers was watching Beast Wars. Like, do you have any connection to Transformers?
Wow. What's happened to Murray?
I don't know. Murray doesn't know that we can't hear him.
I don't drive a Camaro because of Transformers. That's
no, that's because of Shia LaBeouf.
Oh yeah, that's why I don't drive one. I was like, I'll go Mustang. So I did grow up watching the 80s Transformers, and my favorite part was the theme song.
Transformers, robots in disguise.
Yeah, and that was my favorite part of the theme song, because the rest of this theme song wasn't actually that good.
It was more like them laying out for you exactly what the show was about. He was like, and the Autobots fight the Decepticons.
Yes.
Like, they fight for their world. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah. Like,
they should do that with the new Spider-Man movie for his origin story.
They're gonna have
Uncle
to.
Uncle Ben died. And
oh man.
They should just do every show like that. Just speak the plot with like a cool sound in the background.
Like Will and Grace. Like, Will was gay in high school, but didn't tell anyone till Grace came along.
Wow.
And then Grace told him
they
to
slept
be gay.
together, and then that's how he found out that he was gay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Here's me having never watched Will.
Yeah, you would have heard it in the intro song.
Now, don't I feel?
Yeah,
oh my god!
All we need is that terrible intro.
What
Gays in disguise.
Okay, I need to figure out how to get home from here.
Where are you?
Take me home from here.
Are you in the
park in Sunnyvale?
Oh, you're far away.
Let's see. Getting
Okay,
driving directions. Okay, good. Take me that way.
So did you ever watch the last season of Beast Wars, Murray?
So I watched very little of Beast Wars, and it wasn't in order. I watched not that much Transformers either, but I had a lot of Transformer toys, so it was more of a toy thing for me and a theme song thing. So I recognized, the what's his name, the voice, whoever voices the main guy,
Optimus Prime.
Whatever the voice actor is for that, that's what I recognized in the first movie that came out. I was like, oh, it's the same voice guy. And so that was literally like my main reason for going to see it, because it was like, wow, it sounds just like the TV show. That I watched in the
80s. So the final season of Beast Wars. So during Beast Wars, Optimus Prime, who is a gorilla, and his when they land on the planets, and you only learn this later once they've been joined by a bunch of other robots somehow, their memory got wiped.
Yes.
But somehow they knew they had to transform into animals that were existent on this planet. So Depth Charge joins them later. That white leopard guy joins them. Like all these things join him. And Optimus Prime, the whole time, his best buddy is a rhino.
A real rhino?
Well, no. I mean, it's a transforming rhino.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They go back home, and they suddenly remember everything. The rhino snuck onto their plane right before the crash and was like breaking things, and that's why he ended up with Optimus Prime. But he was a bad guy. Yeah, there was a bunch of that going on, and it made no sense at all, really, and it really just destroyed the whole Beast Wars thing for me.
So in the beginning of Beast Wars, or at the end, were they actually the alien race that they were supposed to be, or were they always just beasts?
No, they're the alien race.
Oh, okay. So it is like in the universe of Transformers. Yes. It's not like a branched off different version.
Yeah. And they go back to their home planet where the war is still going on. I think it's meant to happen before Transformers.
No. Much farther after Transformers.
Oh, that's weird that everyone has the same name.
It did not. When they wrote the first episode, that wasn't their intention.
Yes.
After they wrote the first episode, the people were like, we should connect this into the original Transformers. Yes. And then started to make callbacks to what is called Generation 1 Transformers, then connecting them. But when they first wrote the show, that was not the idea. That was not the idea.
because it made no sense that like suddenly another ship showed up.
Yes.
And they were good guys or bad guys or whatever. Like it made no sense at all. Anyhow.
There is so much. God, I want to read this whole Wikipedia.
Don't go to Reddit. It's a mess on Reddit. It's like there's so many fanboys for Beast Wars and
no, Wikipedia is just going to tell me how it is. That certainly couldn't be falsified information.
By people that look like me but live in a basement surrounded by comic books.
I love this. So I scroll to the bottom of the Transformers. See also Gundam, Macross.
I used to watch a lot of Macross.
Yeah.
Growing up.
Okay, what do we got? The Fearless Defenders.
The Defenders with a ripped off Dr. Doom head.
Oh, I wonder if that's a Doom or a Doombot.
This is the Age of Ultron tie-in. Number
Oh,
4.
that's all right. I was like, why does the Defenders sound familiar? And then I remember that's what they called the Netflix show, where they pulled together all of the.
Yes,
Oh,
but
that's right.
the Defenders, when they began in the 60s or
Yeah.
70s, there was actually just the Avengers. It was like the original Avengers.
Right. 1969. Huh. Oh, no. That's Doctor Strange. The Defenders first appeared in a Marvel feature #1 in December 1971. Editor Stan Lee.
Blah, blah, blah.
There's a whole lot in here. Holy moly. You look into any comic book or comic mention that's been around since the 70s, their Wikipedia page is just huge.
Yeah.
Havoc and Wolverine? That seems such a weird
Let's hope this is never a movie. The guy that yells from his chest and the guy that cannot die.
Yeah. Wolverine just kills him in the first few minutes of the movie. Lady Mechanica. I don't.
Yeah.
No idea.
It's a very. What is that thing that Murray asked about the other day?
That could be anything.
That could be a lot of things.
Like those idiots that dress. Okay, I shouldn't say idiots because they're just nerds. Those nerds that dress with top hats and they wear like gear, lever.
Oh, like kind of like steampunk?
Yeah,
or,
it's a steampunk comic.
Okay. Oh, by the way, Murray, your hero is Peter Cullen, and he voices Optimus Prime.
Yes. Yeah, that guy.
Also, he was the first voice of the evil car from Knight Rider.
That was an evil car.
Yeah, so there was Kit, who was the main Knight Rider car, but there was the other one that they made either before or after him that ended up being bad.
Oh,
and
like
that was Car.
Like a
and
beta
Car
prototype.
was bad.
Yeah.
So Peter
Kit
Cullen
had
was
the butler
also.
voice.
Oh, geez, Murray. He was also Monterey Jack in Chippendale's Rescue Rangers. He was also Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh.
Wait a minute.
Anyways, his work knows no bounds.
No wonder Optimus Prime seems so lazy sometimes.
Yeah, he's like, well, I guess we're gonna lose this one. Anyways, we can move on. I had looked him up on Wikipedia and I wanted to make sure Murray knew all those cool things.
It's blowing my mind right now.
He can't even drive straight.
Lady Mechanica. Okay, sorry. Okay, Thor. Okay, we know this one. Marvel Comics Group.
This comic is actually called The Mighty Thor.
Oh,
but
the Mighty is like a footnote there.
Everyone just calls it Thor.
Yeah. I mean, it almost looks like someone put in The Mighty by mistake. There in the corner.
The constipated Thor.
Now, is that the kind of original
series?
Is that like the original series for Thor, The Mighty Thor? Okay.
Yeah. It's a volume 1. So, because comic books still try and joke around and call themselves books, you got
sure
all 24 pages of them with like 100 words, if that. You count them in volumes.
So but Marcel, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So now how
many? No matter how big the picture is.
Well, yes.
Some pictures have a lower or higher word resolution than others.
Word resolution. Yes.
We're talking about this X Factor number 69.
Yep. Who's that blue boy?
Shadow King?
It's like the Tick is there.
Yeah, it's the Tick.
Oh, Shadow King. Okay, that makes sense.
That's the X Factor.
Yes, what's worthwhile. This is Professor X.
Oh, the person he's grabbing?
Yeah.
Like Colossus is very excited.
And Colossus has pants on.
Yeah, he does. He has he put on his Speedos and he's like, I'll save you. I can't. Why couldn't I go Russian? Like, I'll save you, Professor. I don't know. The Russian didn't come out. Yeah, it always ends up being Arnold. Always sounds Austrian. The Prowler.
I swear, some of Spider-Man's villains just sound like rapists.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Named after the unfortunate car from the late 90s.
Okay, you want to look at some pops?
Was there a movie? No, there wasn't. Okay, there was a movie called The Prowler, but it was not.
No. It's a different. Yeah.
It's about a killer in the 1940s.
Yeah.
Different.
Okay, so I think this is 2 pops.
Okay.
2 pops. 2 pops.
I'm gonna guess that.
Oh,
Wait, do you know what they are?
I do.
Or are
but I
they
forgot.
rando pops? Okay,
No,
so
they're
you
not
ordered
rando.
them on purpose. So they're not Dragon Ball Z.
No.
Like, we can rule that out right now.
I think one's.
And they're not from Friends.
Well, how do you know that, Rob?
I don't know. I don't think they make. Well, no, they totally make Friends pops. There's no way.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Oh, it's paper.
Paper pops.
Oh, look at that! Look at that little pop packaging thing.
Okay, so these are both interesting.
Oh, interesting. So it's a Coca-Cola bottle cap. That's really cool.
I'm also getting a Coke can. That's coming in a couple weeks, 3 weeks.
Oh, that's
really
awesome. Cool. That is one of the. Like, sorry, people who love pops, but that is one of the few worthwhile pops that I've seen. Even characters I like, I think I have a Power Armor pop, and he's cool enough, but that's awesome.
So this isn't a big deal for us necessarily, like Bob's Big Boy.
Cool. It's Bob's little boy.
So, the creator of Pops started with a Big Boy bobblehead. That was the first thing he made. He was like 17 years old in his garage, and he had 175 or something Big Boy because he loved Big Boy, but they didn't make a bobblehead for it. So he spoke to the people at Big Boy and said, "What happens if I make one? Are you okay with that?" And they were totally okay with that.
Oh, cool.
Man, hats off to the people at Bob's Big Boy.
And that's how this whole thing started.
Man, I remember going to Bob's Big Boy, and they had a Big Boy statue in the waiting area. And,
yeah.
Man, that is super cool.
This little guy.
Yeah. The Bob's Big Boy pop has a Bob's Big Boy scale pop on the counter. Jesus. Holy moly.
There's a Sonic the Hedgehog on the, is it a U-Haul that's in front of me? I don't know how to change this camera angle, otherwise I would show you guys.
Yeah, don't crash.
But
It'd be a real downer of a video if you crash your car.
Into the truck, and then that way. So yeah, that's the 2 pops.
You know, there's other comic covers of the Prowler that make him seem a lot less creepy.
Yes.
Like him firing lasers at Spider-Man. I'm like, okay, cool. That's more what I'm used to. People trying to kill Spider-Man. That guy kind of looked like he may have been creeping outside a window.
Yeah.
And to be fair, they're only trying to kill Spider-Man because Spider-Man's trying to stop them from doing something. It's,
Every time someone stops me from going into a movie theater during COVID, I try and kill him.
Would it surprise you to find out? Okay, so the characters are introduced in Amazing Spider-Man number 78. from 1969. A 13-year-old boy came up with the character's name and costume, although only the name was ultimately kept.
Now we got to see what that costume looked like.
You think it was just him describing his dad that disappeared?
Bring him home, Marvel, please.
Interesting.
Help me find my pop-up.
He's changed characters a couple times. Well, not characters, but
identities?
quote unquote secret identities. He's changed
Yeah.
a couple times.
I don't know that I've learned this much about the Prowler ever.
Yeah, I mean, I heard of the Prowler 5 minutes ago.
And now you know his whole life
and
story.
now I know a whole lot more. Hobart Hobby Brown was the original Prowler. Hobart and his nickname Hobby.
Oh.
The Defenders. That looks like if Doctor Strange decided to like wear a tight outfit.
It is Doctor Strange. I
Okay.
believe. And
when I was googling
Red She-Hulk.
Okay.
Namor, Silver Surfer, and Iron Fist. I feel like if you have Silver Surfer and Doctor Strange on your team, you don't have to do anything. One's like cosmic level powerful, and the other one is a magician.
So you mentioning Red She-Hulk,
yes,
has made me wonder. I
How
know that there's
horrible the
different
She-Hulk movie is gonna be.
I mean, that I'm not in question of. But like, there are different colors of Hulks.
Yes. Hulk started gray.
And what their deal is. Yes, the darker gray. Well, the gray was the original.
Yes.
And then, pasty gray was the original Hulk.
And then people weren't relating well to the gray color, so they changed him green.
Yes. For the first 20 years or so, the Hulk was green and very stupid.
And then he had a personality split, and gray broke out of him.
Yes, and that's what they're calling darker gray Hulk.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, they just found a printing place that would print in a slightly darker gray.
Yes.
And then let's see, Red Hulk kind of came about the same. No, Red Hulk was first, a completely different person.
Oh.
Yeah. It's not Bruce Banner. All signs point to longtime sidekick Rick Jones, who actually became a Green Hulk for about 5 minutes in the 1980s.
Yeah. The current Hulk is green and Asian.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think there's a Andy Choi or something.
And he's isn't he like half Skrull? Like he's not really.
He's got wings.
Yeah.
I think there's also a gay Hulk.
It's the same one.
Okay.
Yeah. The Asian one.
And he always hangs out with like one particular guy, and that's also his boo.
It's his. Yeah. I can't remember.
They didn't used to be gay.
Amadeus Cho.
Yes.
Amadeus Cho is the new Hulk. I want to say that he's not. Like he didn't get his powers. No, he's gay. But he's not like gamma radiation. Like that's not where he got his power from.
Well, I'm glad because that's all BS.
Yeah.
That's from the Edward Norton Hulk movie. Mario, are you gonna sign off and then join us later, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna sign off. I would take you guys in, but there might be
pantsless creatures around.
Oh, well, there's a pantsless creature dead. Hello.
You're on camera.
Yeah, make sure she knows.
Okay, I'll see you guys in a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Powers. Oh.
Oh.
This is just funny. Amadeus is described by Reed Richards as being the
Okay.
7th most intelligent person in the world.
The 7th.
Yes, and what's funny, this is all so dumb. Although Hank Pym
Yeah.
claims that with his return to Earth from Skrull captivity, Amadeus is actually the 8th. But Bruce Banner says he's actually the 10th. Who cares?
Awful.
Just tell me why he looks like a Hulk. Okay, Daredevil. And there's a skeleton trying to grab his wang.
Rob, you should describe all comics.
Yeah.
The Joker.
He does not know how to play chess.
No.
He's not good.
It's a terrible cane.
Oh yeah. What are those chess pieces? They look like Batman characters.
They were Batman characters, yeah.
Adventures of the Outsiders. We've talked about the Outsiders before.
Yeah, Batman teamed up with them.
Yeah.
For a while. It's Static Shock? No. Anyways, someone like Static Shock. And then no one else you care about.
Whoa. Mountainhead, and that is a heck of a cover.
Look at the names. John Lees, Ryan Lee, Doug whatever, Sean Lee.
Oh.
All the Lees together.
Oh. This is a Lee comic.
And Lily Lee.
Lee Garbarbach.
There's another Lily Lee.
Oh. More Mountainhead.
I like that cover compared to the other.
Skull, the Slayer. I don't know. Okay, I was somehow completely wrong. Like, Amadeus Cho gets his power from gamma radiation, just like the Hulk. I don't know where I got the half scroll thing.
I think I don't know why he has wings.
Yeah.
I don't know where he got his wings from. Maybe that's just a mutation.
Amadeus Cho makes a non-speaking cameo appearance in the Superhero Squad show animated series episode Too Many Wolverines. The Delinquents. Clang.
It looks like How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, maybe it is.
All right, this next comic is going to take us off on another tangent.
Like only one person looks like they came dressed to be a superhero that day.
Right, the front guy.
Yeah, and then everyone else is like, yeah, we'll just go with him. Maybe he just grabs a different group of random people every time.
All right, how many memories does this bring back?
Oh man, a few. Can we talk about the fact that Slimer didn't actually have a name until the animated series, The Real Ghostbusters?
Okay. Yes, let's talk about this.
Yeah, because in the first movie, Slimer existed, but no one called him Slimer. He was just gross, chubby ghost.
Yeah, he was Green Ghost.
Yeah.
That was it, Green Ghost.
And then they gave him a name in the animated series.
So in toy series back from the 80s and 90s, they didn't care that he didn't have a name. Like once he was given the name Slimer, that was it. It was Slimer on everything. Now they've remade toys for the original Ghostbuster movie.
Okay.
And whenever he is in it, it says Green Ghost. And people are so confused. They're like, is this copyrighted? Is that why we can't call him Slimer? Yeah.
What? Okay. This is great. So, for 3 seasons, the show was called The Real Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
After the 4th season, the show changed its name to Slimer and the Real Ghostbusters.
Slimer got top billing.
Somehow, yeah.
Oh, I like that.
And there's more information about Slimer and the Real Ghostbusters in the Wikipedia than there is about the other show. Slimer and the Real Ghostbusters also had more seasons.
Oh, that makes sense why there's more write-up about it.
Yeah.
There was a game, right?
Oh,
a video game?
Oh, there was a game. It is very well known for being
Awful.
terrible and hard. Ghostbuster.
Oh man, remember?
And you're talking about one of the original games, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I used to play the Ghostbuster movie game on a tape deck. On a tape. Where you would have to pick one of the 4 cars.
Mm-hmm.
Or 3 cars, and you had to load it up with equipment, and then you had a budget, and then you had to go bust ghosts.
I was gonna make a joke, and I was gonna say, "Are you sure you weren't playing the Oregon Trail?" Like, the Ghostbusters, they had to load up their cart and try to make it to the ghosts.
No one could afford the Lamborghini, and you would have to drive down the road, dodging things and picking up more gas, so you could get to where you're going. And then when you get there, you have to lay down the trap, and then the 2 beams come together, and if they touch, it was game over. Like one of you died.
Yeah. Don't cross the streams. Which is weird because they established that was okay at
right.
the end of the movie.
It's now just polite bathroom.
Right. But in the video game, they were like, "Oh, if you cross the streams, you immediately die," because that's what happened in the movie.
So we're not randomly talking about this, Murray. Oh, you bastard!
This might be a cronut.
I'm gonna set a timer for me to order donuts tomorrow morning.
A timer?
We're talking about this, Murray.
Or else it'll explode. Oh, the real Ghostbusters. I thought you were talking about the fake movie version.
Oh, no.
So then we're talking about the video games that came out of it, and I was talking about the first game that I remember playing is Ghostbusters, and it was on tape, like physical tape deck that I'd put into a peripheral for either the Commodore or the Atari, one of the 2, and I'd put it in, and then you had to pick one of 3 cars, and then you had to load it up with gear, and you had a budget, and then you drive down the road and you bust ghosts and at the house. And
so I played that too, but it wasn't on tape. It was on Commodore, and it was on a big floppy.
Yeah.
And it was a Commodore 64 that I played that on.
They also had it for NES.
Oh.
It looks like there were a couple of different games for the Commodore that were Ghostbusters. No. It's the one game. The game starts with a choice between 4 drivable cars.
Yeah.
The player must stock up on equipment and make money to complete their objectives.
84. I think I have a photo of me when I'm 6 years old playing this.
Jesus. Yeah, it was available on the Commodore 64, the ZX Spectrum, Atari 8-bit, Amstrad CPC, Sega Master System. Wow. So
I remember the theme song being in the game.
And that was a big deal.
When you were driving.
Yeah.
And it would say Ghostbusters or something like with a voice.
Okay, It didn't sound great though.
No.
It sounded
with
like
a really cool voice.
Optimus Prime was busy getting killed while saying Ghostbusters or whatever.
So like the real idea behind the game was to beat it, get a code, and the code would let you start the game over with the money you had accumulated in the previous playthrough.
Okay,
so you were supposed
I never got the code.
You
Me
were
too.
supposed to keep playing over and over to get more money.
Yeah, because
my-
eventually you want to buy the Lamborghini because you get places fast.
Yeah.
Oh
my gosh.
My dad was really good at it, but I'll tell you where it fell apart. Was we always forgot to go back to the headquarters to drop off the ghosts. So eventually you couldn't catch any more ghosts because your ghost catcher was full. And then the Stay Puft guy was really hard.
Mm-hmm. I definitely didn't get close to beating it.
Catchphrases from this game include congratulations, you have completed a great game and proved the justice of our culture, and now go and rest our heroes.
Yeah.
Oh.
I really like the you have finished a great game.
You have completed a great game.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
It was made in 6 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Most versions of the game have a similar basic format to the initial Commodore 64 and Atari 800 game, which so wrote in 6 weeks. He based it in part on an incomplete game called Car Wars, featuring armed automobiles in a city.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Because the main part of the game was you getting to the building.
Right. It was like, for example, to the ghost vacuum on the Ecto-1, something not present in the film.
Right. So I had the Atari 800 version.
The game was finished before the guy saw the movie. Because
that makes a lot of sense
they
too.
Started writing. They started. Activision got the license early in the film's production and wanted to get the game out as quickly as possible.
That makes a lot of sense, and I'll tell you why. They always bust the ghosts outdoors.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah,
that never happens in the movie.
Right.
Because it's too hard to do film-wise, and then there's no real scene with Zool except for the word Zool written on the map. So that you knew where the Stay Puft guy was going to end.
You knew where the end was. I love this line. While pleased with the game, Crane, who I guess is who wrote the game, later stated that he regretted not being able to include a better victory screen.
I mean, the last got to the victory screen.
The last week of development was spent on the opening scene that plays the Ghostbusters theme song.
Hold on, I gotta see this now. I remember this.
I have it on this arcade machine.
Oh,
on like 6 different systems. If I remember correctly, the Commodore version and the Atari 800 version were the worst versions.
Yes.
And then as new consoles came out, they actually rebuilt the thing for the ground up. And it got better and
doesn't
better.
Seem like it's that hard to rebuild.
No, but if you look at the Master System one, it looks completely different.
Yeah. I've actually watched this played. I've seen it played on YouTube.
Is there a speed run?
Oh God, I hope not.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the first game I remember playing. I think it's the only game I remember playing.
It's a good one.
So yeah, we were just talking about how they've re-released the Ghostbusters movie action figures, or as I call them, 3.5-inch dolls. But on the
but depends on how much action you do with them.
On the Slimer, it's called the Green Ghost. Because that's what he was called in the first movie, but merchandising back then didn't really care at all, so they just put Slimer on everything after the cartoon called him Slimer.
Interesting.
Yeah. So if you go and buy a Slimer from modern day release, it will say the Green Ghost on it. Yeah.
Huh.
Maybe it was an Apple II. There's different composers for this game for
Oh,
the different consoles.
That kind of makes sense because you have to use the built-in voices of the console. You'd have to figure out how to play the similar or same music in a totally different way.
The Commodore 64 and the Apple II have like this guy with a typical white name, and then the NES and the Master System are totally Japanese. Yeah, it's really interesting.
Oh, the Genesis version is very
very different.
different, and
Not good.
they try and
Why is it why all the ghost bananas?
well, they also try and like make the actors like
Yeah.
redrawn in like 8-bit with like big fat heads, and their heads are like shiny because they're balding at the point in time in the movie. Yeah, it's not great looking.
No. Yeah. All right. What else should we talk about? I forgot what we said we were going to talk about last time.
yeah.
Time.
A lot
Oh,
of
should
us
we
have to start
rewatch
writing
our
it
old
down.
video in this video
For 2 hours?
to see what we were talking about?
Oh, Murray, I'm starting to find hard drives from my old Plex server. So I've been transferring them to the Plex server. So I'm hoping, although I just got the comic book series, The Centurions. Is it Centurions? It's that crazy guitar player that you like so much in a cartoon format.
Silverhawks.
Oh, Silverhawks.
But
might-
with a great TV show intro, also.
Yeah.
I might get. Oh, I was thinking about Centurions as well. This is a terrible show. I might get the shows back on the Plex server.
Oh
you can
man,
watch anytime.
I would watch Silverhawks again, but only to the point where we watched last time.
Which is the moment after the theme song.
After the theme song, it's like, wait, is this the same show? How come the theme song looks like an anime, and the TV show looks like a cereal commercial?
It may very well have been.
And then that one scene of the guy with the guitar playing it in mid-space as he flies down.
Yes,
And there
the
was like
rainbow
an
guitar.
Autobot. It was great.
I would at least watch the theme song again.
That's what you want to hear about a show that you made. Is that what I would at least watch the theme song again. The show, not so much.
I did have all the action figures, including a really big hawk that would shoot missiles out of its mouth.
That sounds amazing.
Was it a ship? Like in the show, do people get into the Hawk through the?
I don't
butt,
remember
maybe?
about the show. I think it was. I don't think it was a ship as a toy, at least. What was neat about it was, and I should probably look it up, but it's like it was a pretty big toy, and its claws were springy enough to like hold itself on your arm, and you could shoot the missile from it, and its eyes would like turn like a fiery red as it like shot the missile. It was kind of neat.
I like this conversation because, like, you can tell that part of it is Murray's own interpretation of what's going on. Fiery red color comes out of his eyes,
And its wings would like expand somehow. Let me see.
It's called the Super Attack Bird.
Okay. Silverhawk Super Attack.
Yeah, I'm looking at one right now on eBay.
Worth it?
It is not worth $41.
So the
Oh,
Silverhawk
41,
guys,
that's not much.
the Silverhawk guy's meant to sit underneath it, like this,
Oh.
and guide it.
Okay, so I'm looking at it. It's shorter than I remember, but it is very wide with its.
Well, there's this. Okay, wait. I'm gonna share my screen. real quick.
You're also bigger than
I'm longer than I was then.
yes.
Wait, what happened? Yeah.
Yay! There it is. And look, its eyes.
This is Murray right here.
Yes.
Now, I would like to comment that I still don't see fiery eyes.
Oh, Tallyhawk. Yeah, that's what it was called. No, there's a fiery eyes. Look at its eyes.
I'm trying to find one of these action figures that's cheap enough for me to buy one for Murray as a joke. But people seem to think these are worth more money than I'm sure they are.
So there's the Hawk. Oh, he's got something coming out of his mouth right here.
It's a missile.
It's a person.
No, it's holding onto a person.
Oh.
Oh, no, that's his claw.
Oh, it's his claw. You're
He
right.
holds
Holding a
on to-
person.
So this is the ship. This is another Hawk. And here's a bat.
I
Maybe
don't know
a
about
bat-
any of those.
A bad guy bat.
1986 Silverhawks bluegrass action figure complete with Sideman and hat. Is Sideman the guitar?
I wouldn't be able to answer that.
He's a lot cheaper if you buy him without his hat and guitar.
Sideman came up
But then what's the point?
a Thundercats wiki. After the creation of Sky Shadow, the Silverhawks created avian partners to assist them. Sideman is a transforming robotic hawk. In hawk mode, he can fly through a planet's atmosphere. That's a feature?
It's a feature of all hawks.
As well through the space of limbo. He can fire a blue music energy beam.
I'm gonna send you guys something. I'm not gonna share it on screen.
Okay,
But
I see.
Silverhawks Kenner molecular weapon gun from Silverhawks. Okay. This is not what I thought it was when I first was like,
what?
I looked at it, I went, oh, this is a weird Silverhawks thing.
What? You've got a 3D printer, right?
Mhm.
It depends on where this is going. I might not have one anymore.
Could you print this and we just sell them?
Oh, yeah, sure. For
We like
$100.
undercut this guy by like 20 bucks?
I printed this Bulbasaur last night. He's pretty cool. He glows in the dark.
Is he a dead Bulbasaur?
He's very, very white, I guess. Hey, wake up.
He might be dead.
I'd put him in the front window so that he would glow
What?
later.
There's a molecular with Vulture with that hand thing for $150.
Murray, why didn't you keep these toys? What an idiot.
I don't know. I actually do have a bunch of X-Men toys that my parents gave back to me that they found recently.
Are they buried in the yard like some other
From the
toys that
90s? No. They seem to be in decent condition. One of the Cyclopses still has sparks that comes out of his chest, which is how they indicated that
He was shooting lasers out of his eyes.
He was gay.
I had that action figure. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like a little clear window.
Yeah.
Right on his chest.
My dad would drill out the little clear windows so the sparks would actually fly out.
And thus destroying any value it had.
Catching the neighborhood on fire.
I gotta look for that action figure. Cyclops.
It may have been Magneto now that I think about it.
You know what? It may have been. Cyclops actually lit up.
Yes, his little visor had lit up.
It makes way more sense it being Magneto.
Yeah.
Does it make more sense, or is it just less frustrating that it's Magneto?
It's called wow, that is a tiny window.
Yes. But look at
super spark action.
Yes, but if you look at I'm looking at like the back, whatever that that
The card.
back thing,
Yeah.
the card. It shows him like holding his gun, kind of where the hole is in the action figure. So like, is he supposed to hold his gun where that spark is in his chest? And then that's
I'm pretty sure this action figure got destroyed.
wait. Let me actually. Oh, it's upstairs. Never mind. But yeah, the little hole, the little window, just lit up basically. But every time an action figure had one of those, I had my dad drill out the windows so that sparks would actually come flying out of the front of the action figure,
lighting the paperwork on your desk.
I'm not convinced that your dad didn't try to kill us every now and then, just to be like, well, this will entertain them or kill them, one of the two.
They wanted it that way.
I will say, back in the day, when there was a toy, it was on the shelf for way longer than now. Like,
yeah,
this is an 82 toy or 92 toy, whatever, and you could find it 5 years later on the shelf. Like,
sure.
Now, it's every year is a new toy.
Yeah. People need new. I don't know.
This is fantastic. Hey, says Electronic Magneto talks. It literally is in quotes, talks. Hey, I can really talk. Just press the button and you hear for yourself. It's a separate voice box. That while you're playing with him, you push the button on the voice box so that you can hear him talk.
That doesn't seem so great.
No, it's not.
Oh my goodness. There's so much of this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's never ending.
No, it really is. Like there's so much like the amount of silverhawk stuff on eBay.
What's funny is I had like all of these and they're all like $100 now each.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're not even in their boxes.
Yeah, and some of them aren't even in good condition.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Like a lot of them look like people put them in their mouths a lot, or other places, especially that one.
Well, one of them you're supposed to put in your mouth. The Silverhawks Copper Kid with the little bird. The little bird is a whistle.
What?
Don't question him. He knows.
I mean, sure. Murray, I'm sure Murray had lots of fun.
I'm gonna call the police real quick. Murray's putting copper boys in his mouth.
It's a copper kid.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
You be you.
Brand new, never used. Wow. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna jump out.
Yeah, I gotta go too. We've been talking to Murray too long.
It's true.
Yep, time to leave.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, this is fun. I've started keeping my web browser open so that when we go through things, I can Google things quickly. So
that is how the internet works.
So it sounds like I know what I'm talking about, or at least people know I can read. Which also comes into question every now and then. So I just, I think that helps me out.
The irony that no one watches us.
It'll happen.
I gotta so my goal is
to warm people up to it.
My goal is
giving crap away.
Are you done?
Yeah.
My goal for 2021. I hate you guys. Hate all of you. Hate all of you. I'm the only one that's allowed to interrupt you. So my goal for 2021 is to get together the hashtags and the proper titling and friend the proper people on YouTube to be the YouTube people of the people with the
and you have to say like and subscribe, otherwise
and we need a proper intro, not just us looking at the camera like, is it filming?
Yeah. I should look at the camera, I guess.
Yeah.
Not down at my.
And our faces.
Well, people weren't watching before. They are now.
Yeah. No kidding. All right, guys.
Cool.
One day we'll do a comic book store crawl. Once
Yeah, once everything's less crazy and
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
and
Gay.
yeah. Oh.
Okay. That's my cue to leave.
Yeah, I'm gonna go order some stuff off eBay. I'll see you guys later. All right. See.